Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Kayla. I make videos about books and lifestyle. If you like this video and maybe want to stick around, make sure to subscribe. We'd love to have you here. If you aren't new here and you are already a part of the family, welcome back. What's up, besties? So today is for all of my friends who don't necessarily love to read but is kind of intrigued by it, or maybe you want to jump on the bandwagon. So I wanted to give you guys 6 different books that I just immediately thought of when it comes to books that get you into reading. So a lot of people say to me all the time, Kayla, I wish I read more, or, you know, what's a really good book that you recommend? And honest to God, these are probably the books as of right now that I would actually recommend someone, because they're really solid choices. They're either quick and easy to read, or I gave them 5 stars, or whatever the case may be. I will explain in more in detail when we get to each book. But I specifically for this video wanted to give you guys 6 book recommendations that are going to be something that would be easy and quick and very attention grabbing to where you would actually want to read it. With that being said, if you aren't following me on Instagram, you are missing out a lot. Over there I post all of books that I'm currently reading, or books that I want to read, or updates behind the scenes or whatever of videos that I'm currently working on. So those friends have a lot more access than you guys on YouTube do, or you should be following me. And if you aren't subscribed, make sure that you're subscribing. So if you're not following me on there, you need to be following me, so that way you can be, you know, in on the family, because we're pretty cool over here. Make sure you turn that post notification bell on so you'll be notified every single time that I upload a new video and that I'm over on Instagram, or I'm on Twitter or Threads or whatever. Threads trying to be an app or something, I don't even know. Anyways, you can find me somewhere on the internet. But without further ado, we are going to just get straight into this, because I don't want to bore anybody that is actually interested in wanting to find books to read and maybe they just don't know where to look. So I always like to say that you need to figure out what genre is for you. When I was younger, and I want to say around middle school, high school, I was not a big reader. I didn't want anything to do with it. It just wasn't for me. I just didn't do it. And I'm going to explain reading the same way that a lot of my friends explain the weird theory about wine. Okay, hear me out. Let me finish. Basically, with books, it's kind of just like wine. Now, I can't really say I really can't say that this is accurate as far as the wine part goes, because I'm not a wine girly, but love that you are. However, their theory with wine and being that you have to have the right wine is the same with books for me. You have to find that book that is gonna suck you in. As soon as you find that book, you're stuck and you literally just cannot get out of the loop of wanting to read everything. My favorite genre, for people that are new here, I pretty much focus on romance and YA, sort of, or like smut. So I love that. I really like the thriller aspect. I love a good thriller. I'm not opposed to like dystopian / fantasy. I don't normally go for it, but like I have a few fantasy books that I like, or like dystopian type feels that you will see on my channel. I've talked about them before. We have like ACOTAR, or with Court of Thorns and Roses, and then Zodiac Academy is my favorite series literally of all time, other than Addicted, which is another romance type found friends trope, if you will. That's pretty much the genres that I go to. And I wanted to explain, like, shortly, like what got me into reading, or like my backstory with finding, I guess, the book for me. In 2019, it was I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was April 19th, 2019, and this is when I would like buy books, because it was like slowly becoming, I don't want to say it was becoming a trend, because it wasn't, but like I remember we were going, I've talked about this before too on my channel. If you go back and watch whatever video it is, there's a video of me talking about how my sister was like, hey, look, there's this book, it's from Wattpad or whatever, when we were at the grocery store. And I was like, okay. So I picked it up because, you know, like, whatever. So I picked it up and I was like, I'm gonna read it. But it was one of those books where it was like, I'm just gonna like push it aside and buy it and not actually read it. And this was around the time, you probably guessed it, that After came out. Okay, so the book was After that I bought, and my mom that same weekend was like, hey, we're gonna go with your cousins to go watch this movie. And I was like, what's it called? And she was like, After. And I was like, oh my god, wow. So I watched the movie, thank God I watched the movie first, okay? Because I would have been pissed had I watched the movie after I read the book, because they're nothing alike. Like, the ending was not the same at all. So like, they did that book dirty, okay? Flew through that series in a month, which is crazy because there's what, there's 5 books, and normally I would have maybe taken a year to read one book. So it was very like life-changing in a sense for me, right? So then from there on, I was like, oh my God. After was like my found book, if you will. So it's like the book that got me back into reading. So as much as people shit on it and as much as people say this and this, I have a weird connection with it. Obviously, we can all agree that the movies are shit compared to the books, but am I still gonna watch them? Yes. Again, with that being said, After is one of those that I cherish simply because of the fact that it got me into reading. Now that we've got my story out of the way, I am going to be finally telling you guys 6 books that I have here on my floor next to me that I would recommend you guys that would help you get into reading, and I'm going to explain like the tropes that they give and like a little synopsis of what each book is, and maybe you'll want to read them. Okay, so the first book that I have is a 5-star for me, automatically right off the bat. I just read this one this year. You've probably seen the reading vlog. This was such a popular book in the book talk, book world, whatever, and I was like, I really need to read this book. So this book is Love Another Word. This book follows Macy and Elliot. It's a then and a now style book. So it's not, if you've heard like of POVs and such, this is the book that's going to give you, it's all from Macy's point of view, but it then and now. So it's like, it'll show you all of like what happened like back in the day when she had first met Elliot to like how they ran into each other like in the now. So basically she is a pediatric resident, and she's in line or whatever, this is not like the fucking Queen of England. She is she's engaged to her current boyfriend, and she's kind of just like settled, you know what I mean? Like, if you know, every good romance book or movie, it's like they're just kind of like settling at this point instead of really truly like living for that, you know, that love, if you will. She's at a coffee shop with one of her friends, and her friend notices Elliot walk in. So it rekindles this whole spark of the summer that her and her dad moved to San Francisco into this house where she had first initially met Elliot. I really feel like this one would be good for people that love the whole idea of like childhood best friends to lovers or second chance romance. Okay, I'm gonna get so much shit for this one, but I really don't care. I think I gave this one a 4-star only because it wasn't my absolute favorite, but I could be wrong. I could have gave it 5 when I first read it, but this was the first book that I read after I finished the After series. It ends with us by Colleen Hoover. So we love Coho in this house. And basically, Miss Girly Pop, it literally says on the back, a powerful story of love and courage that has enchanted readers worldwide, right? Is again another childhood friends to lovers, second chance romance. And I would look up like trigger warnings and stuff because there is a lot of craziness that goes on in this book. This book follows Lily as our main character. You have Lily that from the point of when she was younger, Lily met this boy when she was younger, and his name's Atlas, and he was homeless at the time. So she kind of not takes him in, but like cares for him, and they become super close, like best friends. He goes off to fulfill his dreams, right? So he goes off, leaves, and Lily doesn't speak to him again for a hot minute, right? So it's not until she is attending her father's funeral, which this doesn't spoil anything because it's literally the first chapter. So she meets this guy on the rooftop, and his name's Ryle. She ends up having a really strong relationship with Ryle, and there's a lot of stuff that comes into effect with him. At the beginning, you love Ryle, but if you know, you know. And then she obviously, they're going out to dinner or whatever with the parents, and lo and behold, Atlas is working at this damn restaurant. You get to see how this story unfolds with all that. Okay, let's see how far I can get into filming this before it starts to die again. We just went over It Ends With Us. So the next book that I have for you guys is another 5-star for this year that I've read, and it is Happy Place by Emily Henry. This is the first Emily Henry book that I've ever read. I have all her books except for People We Meet on Vacation, but I do plan on reading all of her books eventually. This book is a second chance romance again, and this one just it's so good. Like, I feel like even if you aren't a huge like romancy type person, you'll enjoy this book, because I feel like the majority of it is just like understanding how to appreciate the small things in your friendships, and it really solely focuses not only just on the romance aspect but also on the friendship part of this whole book. Like, one of the quotes from the first chapter is, "My best friends taught me a new kind of quiet, the peaceful stillness of knowing one another so well you don't need to fill the space, and a new kind of loud, noise as a celebration, as the overflow of joy at being alive here now." So like, it's like your found family. This book was so cute. I am so excited to read the rest of her discography. This one I definitely recommend for everyone. It's so good, but especially my second chance romance girlies. Why'd I say it like that? Like, anybody can read it, not just the girlies, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so the next book that we have is another Colleen Hoover book. This is the last one I have out of the stack, but I couldn't not say this one because it's so good. So it's November 9. This is one of my favorite like fall time books by Colleen. This one follows Ben and Fallon. It's very much kind of like a I don't know what type of trope this would give off. It's very much like a first meet style. Is that even a fucking trope? Not the point. Anyways, but Ben and Fallon meet at this diner after Fallon has met up with her father. She does these like rarely like occasional meetups with her dad, and Ben overhears her having like a really hard time with her dad, asking her all these questions, basically telling her she's not good enough, if you will, to be like all these things that she wants to do, right? So he comes over there and he plays the pretend boyfriend, right? So it's kind of like a fake dating trope, but it's really not. So once the dad leaves, they sit down and have this whole like moment or whatever, and they realize they're really hitting it off. Then they decide from there on out that they're gonna do this thing where they only meet up on November 9 every year. So November 9 every year. So, and the one rule that they have is that you cannot look each other up on like Instagram, like any social media of any, like, it doesn't matter. You cannot connect with them off of text message. They don't exchange numbers. They don't follow each other on anything. You can't look each other up. That's the one rule that they have, and you just have to trust that you're both going to come back on November 9th to the diner and see each other again. So this book plays out over every single year, and them like hoping the person comes, and like if they do, the conversations that they hold. There's like plot twists that happen in this book. There's always a plot twist with Colleen, but like there's plot twists in this. This one's just really good. I love to read this on November 9 every year, or around that time if I have the opportunity. I didn't get to do it last year because I was so busy with reading everything else that was on my TBR, but I definitely recommend like getting yourself in the mood by reading this up to November 9. Or if you're one of those girlies that can, if you're one of those bitches that can like take the day off from work or is off from school or whoever, whatever, read this on November 9 because it will just put you all in the mood for it. It's amazing. It's great. You need to read this one. The next two that I have are both series reads. Technically they can both kind of be standalones if you really wanted them to be. However, I would suggest reading them as a series because it just makes the love grow, the heart grow fonder for these books. Just to like wrap up our little romance or whatever, we have The Deal by Elle Kennedy. Okay, so I'm sure every one of you hoes has seen this series. This is the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy. I have literally every single one. She also has the spin-off series, which is Briar U, which is basically the same damn thing. It's just different people. So each book in this series follows a couple, and in each of the couples, there's a guy in the guys in the relationship. There's 4 guys that live in this house off campus, and they're all huge like hockey stars on the Briar University team. And basically it follows each one of them ending up in a relationship and the struggles that some of them have, and how like them falling in love with these girls. It's just so good. Like, it's just so good, and it's not that big of a book. So, and if I'm being quite honest, like the print is kind of small, so it's kind of groovy. Hold on, I just thought about something because I don't know if I said. Okay, so I just thought about something really quick. I wanted to tell you guys that with November 9, this one is POV from both Ben and Fallon. The rest of them so far are just single POVs, but what made me think of it is because The Deal is from both POVs of Hannah and Garrett. Garrett Graham is literally dad AF, and basically this is a fake dating trope. What happens is that Garrett is like one of the all-star hockey players on the team, and he is failing one of his classes, and his coach, basically, it's like a rule that, like, you know, in every school or university or whatever, if you don't have passing grades, you can't stay on the team. So he's failing this class, not doing well in it, whatever, and the smart girl Hannah is in his class, and her name's Hannah Wellesley. Her name is Hannah Wells, and they call her Wellesley when she like starts to become more of a friend aspect in it. And basically Hannah has a lot of baggage when it comes to sexual things, right? But she really likes this one guy, and he just really won't give her the time of day, if you will. So she asked Garrett to make a deal with her that she will help him study and like help him pass the class, the term, the semester, whatever, if he fake dates her, so the guy will then be interested in her. Because, you know, because for whatever reason, us females have to have some hot ass hockey player or whatever be interested in us for this one guy we like to like us. Like, it's ridiculous. But anyways, so let's just act like I didn't say that comment, because I feel like people are gonna be like, why do I want to read it? No, read it. It's so great. So my favorite couple is Grace and Logan. They're the second book, The Mistake. I didn't want to like bring out the whole series because there's 4 books in the series, and then they have like a novella which is called The Legacy. As much as I love El Kennedy, I didn't like that book. It just wasn't as good. It wasn't good to me. But the rest of the series, stellar. It's literally amazing. Literally, go pick this book up now. I love how I still have like the Christmas wrapping paper from when I got. So you should read this book. It's very good. I also think I rated this one 5 stars. Wait, what the hell was it? Oh, I forgot. El Kennedy sent me a signed sticker, and I stuck it in the book. I was like, what the hell is this? Anyway, so I stuck it in the first one because I thought it was iconic, right? The second one, the second book in a series that I'm going to show you is a thriller style. Think Nancy Drew, if you will, but like make it YA. Is Nancy Drew YA? I can't really remember. Anyway, so think Nancy Drew in the, or like, not, I was gonna say Sherlock Holmes. Let's not. This book is so good. I'm so excited because they're making it into a TV show, and the cast is already like amazing. I'm so upset. So we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This fucking book, I read this shit in probably like 2 days. This is, I mean, you're flying through this because it's like Criminal Minds. It's like Criminal Minds. You're like so into the book. You're wanting to know what happens next. You're flipping through them pages. I mean, and towards the end, I was like, oh my God, yes. So basically, this story follows Pip. She is a senior in high school. So she's a senior in high school, and she has basically a senior capstone project, right? And she wants to go over like research, if you will, for the murder of Andy. Andy Bell was someone that was murdered by her boyfriend. Andy Bell was someone that was murdered by her boyfriend, Sal, but Pip doesn't think that's true. She doesn't really believe that Sal was the one that killed her. So her senior project that she approaches to her teacher, because you know you have to get it approved or whatever. She approaches her teacher and she asked the teacher if she can do her senior capstone on Andy Bell and that whole situation or whatever. And in the meantime, he's like, okay, I think it was a guy. So the teacher's like, yeah, absolutely, you can do it, whatever. Just do not bother the family. They're going through shit. They do not need to worry about you being all up in their grill asking them 1,700 questions about the son, right? Because the son is dead too, but they think that he killed Andy. Of course, Pip, being the bitch she is, went up to the Singh house, which is Sal's family house, and instead of respecting the teacher's wishes, she walked up to the Singh house and asked Ravi, Sal's brother, if he wouldn't mind answering some questions or, you know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Basically, he's kind of like, okay, I'll help you as long as I can be on the team. So he gives all this facts, whatever. They interview people. It's crazy as hell. Like, it's so good. Like, they get so wrapped up in this. Basically, it's really good. I really do think you need to read it. The second one is Good Girl Bad Blood, and oh, it's right here. I didn't want to grab the book because it's all the way up there, but Good Girl Bad Blood, I read that one I think this year. I think I read it. I know I've read it, but I don't remember if I read it this year. I want to say I read it this year. It's basically, I did read it this year. I read it earlier this year, and it was so good. It's not, in my opinion, as good as this one is, but it is so good. Basically, they have a podcast and everything. It's really good. So I haven't read the last one yet, which is Dead Girl something. I literally have it over here. The third one is called As Good as Dead. I haven't read that one yet, and I really do want to read it this year. If I don't, obviously I'll read it next year, but I really want to get to that one because this series is so good, and I highly recommend at least reading the first one, because you could read this one and just not finish the rest of them, even though I recommend finishing them. But so with that being said, that's going to be the end of today's video. I hope that you were inspired to pick up one of these books, or maybe research a little bit more about a genre you may like. If you guys want me to do another video like this where I go more in depth with a specific genre, let me know, and I don't mind doing that at all for you guys. As I said before, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and if you're not already following me on Instagram, make sure that you're doing that. If you're not following me on anything, please make sure that you're doing that. Also, make sure that you're subscribed and turn your post notification bell on so you'll be notified every time that I upload a video, and I will see you guys for another video. I also forgot to mention, if you guys want, please comment video ideas down below, or feel free to slide in my Instagram DMs and tell me if you want a video up, some type of video on there. But yeah, I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you later. Bye.